Wagwan people, what you saying? It is I, Diligent Fingers, and welcome to Season 3 of the Viewpoint podcast, or the Viewpoint. I think I'm going to shorten it down to the Viewpoint, to be honest, actually. I think that will be a lot better for, in the long run in terms of what it is that I'm trying to do with this thing right here. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'll be honest and I'll say I've probably recorded about 6-7 different videos and changed my mind a few times in terms of what it is that I'm going to cover, what the things are that I'm going to talk about. And you know what? I'm just going to get back to, talking about things in regards to mental health, talking about things that are important to me. And opening up more, because ultimately I'll admit, I've over the last few years, I've really ended up like closing up, and I know there's a lot of people that subscribe to my channel because of how open I was in regards to things that were going on with my mental health, and a lot of things like that. Recently I had things happening in regards to opening up again, and people coming at me and this, that and the third, and at this point, it's just going to happen. But if there's anyone that I do want to appeal to when talking about these things, and not to not to exclude women or anything like that, but I think in this day and age, and with the way things that are going, especially when it comes to interpersonal relationships between men and women, trans people, non-binary people, do you know what I mean? I think, opening up again about mental health, about things that are going on in the world, and trying to present more of a positive perspective and more of an understanding perspective to things is going to be the best thing and the best way that I can approach, coming back to making this kind of content. And that really and truly, I've tried doing reactive content to just stupid things that are happening in the world. Like, that seems to be the thing that seems to get the most views and this, that and the third. But then I end up just feeling like I'm adding to the problem rather than being a part of the solution. I was umming and ahhing about it for time, but then I came across this video which really sort of cemented this decision for me. And the video is this. Tripp Fontane is a man that I've started seeing a lot more videos coming out about, and over time I wasn't sure where he fitted. I wasn't sure whether he was part of the manosphere, this red pill space that just only puts out toxic narratives and just isn't realistic. Do you know what I mean? In terms of how the common man, the regular guy, is actually living. But then I found this video from a channel that I do follow quite a lot, and I do respect. At times they do come out with some videos that are just way off base. Do you know what I mean? But at times they do come across people that do challenge their perspective, and I feel like this is really important, especially for black men. Do you know what I mean? But men in general, because he does talk about other races and stuff like that in this video. I think this is important for all of us as men to really step back and listen to. And I'll give my perspectives as to why, and I'll try not to make it a long video, but I feel like to get my point across, do you know what I mean, and really give my full perspective, it may end up being a long video. So, apologies if you're more into the shorter form content and stuff like that from me. But I really do feel like this is important, especially in this day and age, and that as well. But this video really did. It was really refreshing, and it really did, open my eyes and make me hopeful for the fact that, like, there are genuine men out there that have and can put forward a level of understanding that can reach people, hopefully. And also, like, I've been talking a lot behind the scenes, do you know what I mean, on social media about putting the spotlight on the things that we do like, do you know what I mean, right, rather than inadvertently putting the spotlight on the things that we don't, and then giving that more credence and giving those things more attention when we shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? I feel like people like, Tripp, his voice should be heard because it's a very rare, nuanced, and more positive voice. Do you know what I mean? Compared to the really toxic and just not reflective enough and full of double standard sort of opinions that are put out there, you know? And it really opened my eyes up to a couple of things as well that I've been feeling, but I've not been willing to admit. And, and how that can contribute to not really getting far when it comes to interpersonal relationships, as well as sort of potential, relationships of love. Do you know what I mean? And stuff. So, yeah, I hope people, especially men, do you know what I mean? Black men, but men in general as well. Do you know what I mean? I hope you do find value in this, and I hope I can provide extra value to this as well. But yeah, let's get into it. This is on Comedy Hype, the channel Comedy Hype. And yeah, Tripp Fontane warns black men living up to unreal standards. Men are honestly scared.
Niggas is scared because, especially now more than ever, the way we taught to view what a man's supposed to bring, even traditionally, the shit not even appreciated.
Now, I seen you, the thing that I like about your style is that you're fair. Because a lot of these brothers that do get like the light and it comes to the relationship space, they call them incels, and they beat up women. But the thing that I don't get, and this is the kind of also challenge the ladies listening, like they also help make those guys famous, and they also give them an ear.
Yeah.
And then
See, I'm going to let Fontaine get to his point. I'm going to let Tripp get to his point as well. But this is initially the problem that I have when it comes to when we're talking about, relationships and things like that. We're always, or at least a lot of men that are out there, where they're always very quick. Or like, let me clarify even further. When it comes to this type of content, or talking about these things in a public space, it's men are always quick to point the finger on the other side first, rather than admitting, do you know what I mean, their flaws, their faults, do you know what I mean, and that. And it always ends up putting the conversation off on the wrong foot. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the host right here, again, respect Comedy Hype, respect them as a channel. But the fact that instantly when it's talking about these things, it's like, oh, when men come out and talk about these things, the women call them incels and and say that they beat up women and but then the women are giving these men the ear and whatever it is that he was trying to say, because he didn't really finish off his sentence. So to speak. But the fact that Tripp's like shaking his head straight away on both sides, from what I can tell, just lets me know that, like, yeah, okay, really, that's how we're starting off this conversation. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that's where the sincerity of really wanting to build a bridge is questioned. Do you know what I mean? You can't really build a bridge if you're the first to point fingers at the other side. When we both know it's something that we need to rectify on both sides. Do you know what I'm saying? That, like, situations like, like what the host was putting forward don't just happen. a lot of the content that is coming out talking about these things, like I said, it's snarky, it's salacious, it's sensationalized because it gets the most views. Do you know what I mean? That's why people like Fresh and Fit end up getting the most views, not necessarily because everyone is agreeing with them, but because of how outrageous they are, coming out with statements like, oh, women deserve nothing and women shouldn't be able to vote and this, that and the third. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Andrew Tate coming out with his madness and people latching onto it. I understand that a lot of the men that may be agreeing with what these guys are saying are coming from a place of hurt. But then inadvertently, if hurt is what's guiding your narrative and perspective rather than reflection, accountability, which is always what, do you know what I mean, is accused of, like, lacked of from the other side with women, actual accountability for your own actions. If you're not willing to come with that, do you know what I mean, and you're starting off with accusing the other side of not having that, then what kind of real bridge are you willing to mend? Do you know what I mean? So I love how Tripp is gonna sort of call that into question, but also showing that it's understandable. Do you know what I mean? To an extent, you know.
And you and I, we just met, but I've always looked at guys like that. That to me, those guys haven't been successful women in their real life, and it feels like this is their time to cope with why it didn't work out for them. Because any man that's getting women, I'm not going at you. I'm thinking about other things with you. And if you pulling them, you at ease, you cool. But a lot of these brothers do seem like have their traumas attached, particularly dealing with black women, because black women are very strong. They're not easy. They're not gonna go with everything. They're gonna give you a little stiff arm if you're not coming properly.
I'm gonna admit, as soon as I started hearing him talking about black women, it was just like I wanted to switch off the video straight away because it's just like, come on, like, for fuck's sake, can we stop doing this? But I'm so glad Tripp responded the way that he responded.
It will challenge your space, and those brothers that have not done well, succeeded in that, now seem to be targeting them and hitting them and jabbing them. And but yeah, one, what's your thoughts about that? But then overall, why do women also fear accountability? Because that was a clip that I saw.
I'm sorry, I've got to laugh because it's just like, come on, man. Come on, please, come on. Stop with this narrative of women fearing accountability and then going to, do you know what I mean, sensationalized examples of women that are on the internet as to why they believe that all women fear accountability. Like, come on, stop, but check this response.
With you.
All right, we going both of them joints. The incel stuff, the red pill stuff, the passport stuff, it's not new.
Mm-hmm.
It might be new to black men, like the black manosphere. It might be new to us. But if you go some decades, I mean, I really think about how long like white men in the military been bringing back women that ain't from here.
Bringing them back. I know they be having some children outside.
Even the ones that like, I mean, you ain't ever seen none of them random couples that be this old white man with a Vietnamese lady?
They love respectfully Asian women. Definitely be
because they what? Are more submissive
for sure.
And more. So if that conversation been around this long, it can't be a new one. We might have just got around to it.
Okay.
Might have just hit YouTube good, but that ain't new. This dissatisfaction with the behavior of, you know how long white men been talking about that? Since the feminist movement?
I remember, because obviously I'm a black British person. Do you know what I mean? Black Caribbean, living in the UK, born in the UK. I remember comedians like Roy Chubby Brown, Les Dennis. Do you know what I mean? Gary Glitter. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, I don't think, actually, no, he was more of a TV personality as well as a pop star than a comedian. But I remember comedians like that constantly making jokes about needing a submissive woman, or their woman is pissing them off and and all this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it was like, even back then, I never found that kind of comedy funny, because it was just like, well, especially coming from the upbringing that I was coming from a broken home, seeing, you know, the amount of work that my mum would do just to keep the home. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, my dad, like my stepdad, would go out to work and this, that, and the third, but it was the mum that was running the home. Do you know what I mean? And shit, and there didn't ever really seem to be balance when it came to a lot of the relationships, older relationships that were around me during them times. You know, I remember my mum having to do other types of work like play scheme and cooking food and selling it out of the yard, and do you know what I mean? Things like that to bring in extra money into the home. I didn't know what my stepdad's job was at the time, but it mustn't have been paying enough to be able to actually secure and fully look after a family. And that's no knock on him. Obviously, that we're doing the best that we can as a family, you know. But it mustn't have been enough for it to get to a point where my mum's got to get involved and pick up extra things, as well as looking after us as kids, and looking after the home and keeping the home nice and clean and this, that, and the third, being house proud and shit. Times were hard. Times were hard in the 80s. You know, in the UK, we're going through the Thatcher, do you know what I mean, period, the conservative period of, governmental rule, and that mines are getting shut down, loads of jobs are being lost, do you know what I mean, due to loads of things being changed, like the way of living for the working class being changed and shit. So I can understand that it's hard, but I don't understand why pride can't be put aside for you to be able to work together. Do you know what I'm saying? For me, I could never really understand like why pride couldn't be put aside to work together. And I've never known my mum to be unreasonable. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, you need to be able to afford all of this tenfold, or I'm not going to be with you. Like, my mum wouldn't have married this man if she didn't see his worth past finances and shit like that, you know? So that was always a thing that really like baffled me. Like, why can't we just be realistic about things, you know? But yeah, it's always been a thing. We're talking about like, you know, even the placement of incel now, like the use of the word incel is just incorrect. Do you know what I'm saying? Like involuntarily celibate. Do you know what I mean? That's what it actually means, but the use of it is incorrect because it doesn't really explain, how things can really go wrong and contribute to relationships breaking down and shit. And then when it comes to the black community, and I'm a black man, so I see this version of it. It's almost as if like when we talk about other races and how they deal with things, because they're not dealing with things in the same way that we are, it's almost as if we actually believe that they don't have versions of happy wife, happy life.
White women like getting back in the kitchen, coming back to the house. Why you think they've been talking about it so long? They put new laws on women's bodies to get them back in the house,
right?
To keep them pregnant. They've been at it so long. They putting it on the books.
Right.
We putting it on the blog still.
We putting it on our podcast, and they dead ass serious about that shit.
Yeah. We amateur when it comes to the dissatisfaction now.
Right.
So this is what I mean when I'm talking about this box. This box causes us to look at our women a certain way.
Okay.
And say that our women have to be a certain way in order to be proper because we trying to be the proper man. And the only way a woman can fit with me is if she jumps in a box too. Be real here, bro. You think white women are docile and submissive and meek?
Not completely.
You ever seen a white man beat into submission in his relationship? Look at the older couples. Don't look at no younger couple, bro.
Well, they yeah.
You notice how
He
quiet he is now.
They say they think it's the happy wife, happy life. I think they was pushing that real heavy.
Yep.
Just do whatever you say, Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you want to go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think they've been tired? You don't think white women ain't been tired of white men? Even the well-kept ones. That's where the pool boy shit come from.
I've got to do it. I've got to play the air horn. This is going to be a new thing. Like when a real point is being made, that's where you're going to hear the air horn, and I hope it's not too loud. I'll bring it down a bit. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like real talk. Real talk.
Even the well-kept ones. That's where the pool boy shit come from.
Housewives.
Paying all the bills, but ain't being no type of man in the relationship.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Let's be real. Let's like as men, let's be real about our side of things. Yeah, we've got to work hard and this, that, and the third. But especially now in 2024, where our kids are able to actually talk up and they're able to find others that have got the same feelings and experiences as them, myself included. Because as a kid growing up, yeah, man, put food on my back, food in my belly, clothes on my back, food on my back. Food in my belly, clothes on my back, got me my first bike. Yeah, man, big up my stepdad, man. Big up my stepdad. But in terms of presence, in terms of teaching me anything, in terms of being a man, do you know what I mean? In terms of being a role model, didn't have that. Non-existent. From my stepdad and my biological father. I've only met him once, and I met him when I was 30 years old. I had to grow up looking at other families like, rah, okay, so that's what their dad does. He's about, like, he's taking him here, there, and doing this, and rare-ter-ter. Do you know the amount of men over the years that I've wanted to take up as adopted fathers? Do you know what I mean? Father figures, and then been disappointed by how they actually treat their own children. When you come to deep it, it's crazy. It's mental. Do you know what I mean? It's mental.
Because that's what these boxers do. Bruh, I don't be challenging manhood because I don't try to... bruh, I be trying to get the money for I could pay all the bills. I'm not out of this shit.
Same here. Even when I've said what I've said, it's that societal sense of pride that's like, nah. Even now, I refuse to try and get into a relationship. Like, and what I mean by that is I refuse to be the person that's actually pursuing a relationship because I know I've not got my financial situation set. My money is not right. Do you know what I mean? I don't necessarily agree with the narrative of if you are broke, you shouldn't date, because that's a completely different thing altogether. You may find somebody who's in the same situation as you, who is trying to get out of it, and you two can build together. That narrative only comes from the upper echelon, the whole, do you know what I mean? How value, man, it only comes from people that are wanting to step out of their lane. It only comes from wanting things that you realistically can't have, trying to live a lifestyle that you realistically can't uphold. Stay in your lane. But for some reason, pride fucks with us, and we don't want to be the guy that hasn't been in a relationship for yeah, 10 years now. 10 years I've not been in a relationship, real relationship. And before, maybe a couple of years ago, it had been a good 6-7 years. Yeah, 6-7 years since I'd not had a sexual encounter. No guy wants to be that guy that will admit that. Even though there's nothing wrong with that, because for me it's been a personal choice. There's things mentally that I need to get sorted out. If you know me, you know about my mental health journey. Do you know what I mean? You know that, I'm on benefits. I'm disabled because of my back. Do you know what I mean? There's things that sort of kick my pride and my ego into gear that will prevent me from, getting into an actual relationship. Like I said, but then again, if someone comes along, I'm not looking, but if someone pursues me, understands my situation and is prepared to work with me, not for me, not fix me, but work with me whilst I am on my journey of building and creating my own music business and things like that. So then I'm not on benefits anymore and this, that and the third. Then cool. But because of my pride, because of my insecurity when it comes to finances, I am not going to pursue a relationship. So that has been my choice for the last 10 years. I'm going to take that time to actually work on myself. Do I get lonely? Hell yeah. Of course I do. Of course I do. But like he said, if I'm not in a position to be able to pay my bills as well as go on holidays with my potential partner, go on nice meals and this, that and the third, do you know what I mean? Reasonable. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be a 100k a year guy. It'd be nice if I can get there, but I'm not. I'm being realistic about my life. There's certain things that hold me back, like my disability with my back. Do you know what I mean? That hold me back from certain positions that I can hold. But if my music business takes off and YouTube, whatever, do you know what I mean? Oh, that would be amazing. But it'd be unrealistic of me to believe that I can do all of the things that these other content creators and this, that and the third are doing to be able to reach those heights. I'm not young. I'm not willing to embarrass myself. I'm not willing to just jump on trends just because it is. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't seem, do you know what I mean, sustainable for me. There's things regarding my age that stop me from doing certain things, I understand the position that I'm in. I understand the place in life where I'm at. I don't have a problem with it. I don't hate it. I don't blame anybody for it. It's where I am. But at least I am realistic about it. And through that, I am hopefully making realistic choices. Don't end up leading me into situations or relationships that are more damaging rather than fruitful and beneficial. And that's a hard thing to deal with. Like I said, do I get lonely? Fuck yeah. Oh my God, yes. But the one thing that I refuse to do is let my loneliness get myself into situations that are more harmful, damaging, and not beneficial at all to either me or the other person, because of how I know I'm not going to be able to deal with that. So when it comes to like OnlyFans and all this kind of like feeding into this red pill like manosphere stuff, like I don't see any sense in it whatsoever. Because it's just rooted in your own cognitive dissonance and delusion. Because even if you are justified in your hurt, even if you are one of the men that went through one of these extreme situations where a woman completely like destroyed your life, because trust me, it's not that common. It's just pushed to the forefront a whole lot more. But even if you were one of those guys, is hanging on to the hurt really the best way to try and attract the woman that you actually want? Is denigrating and degrading women that you wouldn't actually go for anyway the best way to actually attract the women that you want? Really?
I'm trying to unlearn it and relearn it like everybody
Wait,
else.
so you don't think we should be trying to take care of all the bills?
Nigga, I know we shouldn't be trying to take care of all the bills, and I'm still out here trying to earn the money to take care of all the bills. I'm in it with everybody else.
Let me just reload because I've just realised I wasn't even on the thing. I love the fact that he said that, because that is real. Look at the world that we're in.
Get the money for I could pay all the bills. I'm not out of this shit. I'm trying to unlearn it and relearn it like everybody else.
Wait, so you don't think we should be trying to take care of all the bills?
Nigga, I know we shouldn't be trying to take care of all the bills, and I'm still out here trying to earn the money to take care of all the bills. I'm in it with everybody else.
Well, so, cause I'm in the same race.
Yeah.
But
we all are.
Yeah.
We all are. We're all in the same race. Men and women. This is what baffles me about these conversations between men. You want to put yourself in a position, to find a woman to take away their ownership, their individuality. Because what were you expecting these women to do before they met you? Just not have their own goals, their own ambitions in a cost of living crisis world? To just solely depend on you like the old days? When you're not even in a position to do that, you have to be one of the top 20, 30% to really be in a position where you can take care of all the bills and then have the lifestyle that you actually want. Realistically, that's what you envision for your life, realistically. And yet we accuse women of being deluded by all of these fairy tales. The man said it himself. I know I should not be paying all of the bills, yet I'm still trying to get the money to pay all of the bills. And it's not to say that you shouldn't be striving for a life where you're comfortable. It's not to say that you shouldn't be trying to go for a lifestyle that you truly want. It's the mindset that you're using to be able to get these things. And then many times you hear about men actually achieving these things and not feeling the way that they thought they were going to feel, not actually experiencing the relationships that they thought they would get. Because on the other side, there is a deluded mindset that has been drilled into them as well, that they need to unlearn, that women need to unlearn, but that's a conversation for them. Because the moment we unlearn, and I used to like really hate the word unlearn. Do you know what I mean? It's just dismissing. For me, it's really just dismissing lessons that you know are wrong. Not making excuses for them, not blaming and pointing your finger at other people. Just dismiss them. Just change the behavior. Every time you have not made the decision to change your behavior, you end up in the same bullshit that you never wanted to end up in. Just change the behavior. And yeah, it may take longer. Like me, 10 years single. Yeah, it may take longer to actually find the right woman for you, but you're not going to find the right woman for you doing the same thing that you always do, going the same places that you always go to, getting with the same type of woman or man that you always get with. Just change the behavior. You know what we need to do. I know it's what we need to do. Just do it.
For sure, everything is conditioning, right?
Exactly.
You grow up, someone's gonna kind of groom you to think about yourself in this light, live this way. And so my answer is, that's what I believe. And I don't know, where does it come from? It comes from because that's what I feel is the right thing to do as a man, that I am supposed to take care of the house. And then maybe my woman comes and balances out in different ways. But so if things need to be more fluid in terms of, which I understood even in my space, I've been challenged, like, you don't have to necessarily just be that way. You can, a woman can step in at times, especially if it's tough financially.
Yeah.
It's needed. A woman needs to step in at times. Finding balance can't just be one way, because we are not all the same. And all of us trying to fit ourselves into this box, like he said before, it's not working, is it? Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this position where we're having to actually have these types of conversations. What was traditional is traditional. What's modern is modern. Why? Because time and people evolve. For all that men are talking about, oh, it was easier back then and women were like this and women like, there's hordes of women talking about how horrible it was for them back then. How little ownership they actually had of their lives back then. Like he said, the feminist movement, that didn't happen for no reason. It didn't happen for no reason. And we have to take accountability for why that was. There was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of marital abuse. I know I've got to adhere to the fact that, like, there's certain things that just can't be said on YouTube, but yeah, a lot of marital grape and things like that, like, and trying to justify it with, oh, well, he had to do this and he had to do that, and you can't justify abuse. That's abuse. You can't justify abuse. If that's the way that the relationship is going, be a man and accept the fact that you have to leave, and just leave. Stop clinging on to this, oh, breaking up the nuclear family. Think of the kids. Yeah, really think of the kids. Really think of the kids, because the kids are absorbing that energy that you and your toxic potential partner, because of both your toxic behaviors, because you won't leave each other. You'd rather stay and destroy and damage each other. You're choosing to stay in those relations. I had a brethren once, yeah. Bad sex addiction. But had a woman, 3 beautiful kids. Do you know what I mean? Refused to leave the home because he didn't want another man raising his kids. I know there's going to be a lot of men that agree with that statement, but here's the hard pill to swallow. If you didn't want that to happen, you shouldn't have cheated on your wife. If you didn't want that to happen, you should not have cheated on your wife. And I've met so many men with the same thing, coming with the same excuses. You won't change your behaviour, but yet you won't let the woman live the rest of her life happy because of some mad, deluded responsibility to stay in the home with the kids, even though you're not really creating a happy home for the kids. And I don't care what anybody else says, the kids, regardless of how it looks, deserve a happy home. I do not care what anybody says. That's why at 43 years old, I don't have any, because I have not met the right woman. Came very close with my last relationship before me being single for 10 years. Came very close. But there were still things that I needed to deal with. So that's why it didn't happen. Because if I didn't deal with these things, then I would not have believed that I am actually creating as much of a happy home as possible for my potential future children. That's a hard pill to swallow. But it's one that you do have to swallow. You have to recognize, and you have to deal with the consequences if that's not what happens, especially if it's your fault. But a lot of men are not willing to do that. A lot of men that find themselves in that position, not all men, a lot of men that find themselves in that position are not willing to do that type of work.
It does make me reflect, like, yeah, are we doing it wrong?
And I don't want to make traditional people like the bad people, the enemy, because again, I got stuff that I'm trying to unlearn, relearn, stuff that's not really applicable, all of that good stuff. It's really just about challenging the narrative and being able to acknowledge out loud where some of this stuff come from. And if you still want it, if you still want to sit with it, if it's still valuable to you, go ahead. But we got to start calling a spade, bro. That'd be my only thing for real.
Yes.
How does that hurt us?
How does what hurt us?
How does me trying to be, the macho man?
Where I think it does hurt some of us is this belief, and that we keep preaching it out loud, is that you got to go twice as hard to be half as good.
Right. Oh my God. When he said this, this is what made me want to make this video. When he said this, oh my days, this is what made me want to make this video. Black men. I've always stood by this in terms of a mindset. Black men especially, please, my brothers, please take this in. Don't let this go over your head, please.
Correct. Nigga, no. I refuse to ever measure myself up against anything or anybody that sets me out with a handicap that even if I exceed performance expectations, I could only ever be half as good.
Let me reload that.
That'd be my only thing for real.
How does that hurt us?
How does what hurt us?
How does me trying to be, the macho man?
Where I think it does hurt some of us is this belief, and that we keep preaching it out loud, is that you got to go twice as hard to be half as good.
Correct.
Nigga, no. I refuse to ever measure myself up against anything or anybody that sets me out with a handicap that even if I exceed performance expectations, I could only ever be half as good. That means I gotta go 4 times as hard just to get to ground zero. I'm not subscribing to that, bruh. Black male suicide rates are going up, bruh. Our life expectancy is
I was
going
gonna
down.
say a lot of our black grandfathers passed away consistently before.
And bruh, like the
Because
numbers,
we trying to do it all.
the numbers say that it's killing us. Not my opinion. The facts say that it's killing us.
Please, please, do not let this go over your heads. My brothers, please do not let this go over your heads. Unrealistic standards. For real. That's where all of this comes from. But me growing up watching these hip hop music videos, everyone's got the Benjamins, the Lexus, the gold chains, all the women, sexy women around them, rare tear. They're in the best hotels, the biggest swimming pools. They've got the biggest cribs on NTV Cribs, the whole shit. Settles on a path believing that we have to live up to these unrealistic standards to the point where we're killing ourselves trying to meet these unrealistic standards. And then when we get there, instead of going for the humble women, we just go for the sexy women. Because we want to scream our attention, bring attention to how wealthy we are, and this, that, and the third. We attract the same. And then when we realize that our goals are not the same, when we realize that I have actually been trying to live up to an unrealistic standard, I'm not happy. Instead of being realistic and honest with ourselves about that and changing the behavior, it ends up taking us down the darker path. Do not get me wrong. I've fallen into that myself. And the last 10 years of being on my own has taught me completely different. Being in a relationship where none of that mattered. None of that truly mattered. Of course we had bills to pay. Of course there was nice things that we wanted to do. But getting to an unrealistic point to achieve these things was just never on the cards. We were able to find a way to be able to do and experience the things that we wanted to really experience. Before meeting my ex, I never really thought that I would have the opportunity to go to Disney World in Florida. Let alone get over there and be able to present to her an expensive engagement ring to ask her to marry me. Let alone her say yes. You may meet somebody that makes you want to improve your life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, before I met her, I was so depressed because of a really traumatic situation that happened to me that really exacerbated my PTSD. Added to it was another source of PTSD. Because my head was that mashed up. I never thought I was going to get into a relationship, but the relationship found me. And through that relationship, I experienced things that I never thought I would be able to experience. And that was through us working as a team. Yeah, we had dreams. Yeah, we had goals. But we were genuinely realistic about those goals. And it felt amazing. It felt amazing. The respect was mutual. The love was mutual. It felt amazing. And trust me, I had had horrible relationships before that. I'd been cheated on. And in my early years, I was a dog. I was a horrible piece of shit. But to meet someone who truly loved me for me, saw me at my lowest, but still saw a better person in me and helped me to get to that better person for myself. And to be able to love her back, show her that mutual respect back. If it wasn't for the fact of during that time, I wasn't dealing with the PTSD properly and it was getting worse. I was having flashbacks, I was having nightmares, I wasn't sleeping, and then as a result, I was isolating myself from everybody, including the person that was closest to me at my time, my future wife, my fiance at the time. And it got too much for both of us. But now that is the benchmark. If we ain't working as a team, I'm not wasting my time. And me setting that as the benchmark, that means that I have to be able to be a team player myself. A realistic team player. If I want to meet another realistic team player as a partner. That's real. That's real. That's accepting what I can do, what I can achieve, what I can realistically dream for. I have to accept all of these things. I have to accept all of my flaws and work on them for real. And I have to have a potential partner that is willing and actively doing the same. They don't need to be the baddest gal. They don't need to have all the money in the world. We just need to be on respectable mutual levels, and it will work. It will work. Real shit.
So sure, stay over there if you want to. But again, we gotta call a spade a spade. And with the cost of living rapidly rising, with the value of the dollar decreasing
Same
for
with the pound.
everybody. Bro,
Yep.
we talking about for everybody, not
Yep.
just black people. Because we know once things hit us, it gets exponentially worse. We talking about for
shit.
everybody. We already not getting paid what white people getting paid. So you actually factually do have to work harder in that regard for all your dollars to add up. What you gonna do now? Work harder?
And I mean, we do need burnout.
Niggas working 50, 60 hours a week, bro, just to make sure they straight. Not wealthy, just to make sure they straight. How many more hours you got to give?
This is why I always had a problem with this grime culture that was coming about. And everyone was championing it hard. And if you look now, YouTubers, content creators, musicians, do you know what I mean? I'm seeing it a lot in the musician world, in the worlds that I'm in, drum and bass and hip hop. I'm seeing it a lot. People coming out, I can't keep up with this. I didn't come into this to do this, and there's so much work that you have to do. I find it difficult myself. Especially at 43 years old. How much time do I really have? And if I'm really want to work on myself and make sure that my health is sorted, my mental health is sorted, grinding to the point where I burn out. That's just not feasible. It's not feasible for the majority of people. For the majority of people. So what are you going to do? You have to be content with doing the best that you can. You have to be. And if the opportunities come where you can do better, you can improve, take them. Most definitely. Most definitely. But you have to get yourself to a place of being content with doing the best that you can. Because comparing yourself to everybody else will completely steal your joy. It will completely steal the love and respect for yourself that you should have, because you are doing the best that you can. Truly. Like you said, if you want to stay over there, stay over there. But let's call a spade and recognize the toll that it's taking on you and maybe taking on your potential partners. How many times are we hearing, even reverting it back to the regular man, how many times are we hearing about, paid all the bills, did this, that, and the third, but wasn't really there, wasn't really present, and as a result was failing as a potential partner, failing as a husband, failing as a father. Letting pride take over, refusing to let the woman step in, refusing to let anybody else step in. What, because of peer pressure? Because you don't want next man to crush you, even though they're not living your life. They're not going through the individual things, the personal things that you're going through. They didn't come up with your upbringing. They don't know realistically how hard it is for you, but you're letting them dictate how you're going to feel about situations that you're going through. How you should deal with your wife. Oh, if that was me, I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't deal with that. And even though you understand the reasons why your wife may be reacting the way that they're reacting, based on your own actions that you might not even be admitting to your boys. And sometimes if you are, you're making excuses because you know that your boys will agree with those excuses, even though you know deep down they're wrong. Even though you know deep down they're wrong. Really? You're going to let that rule and then end up fucking up a potential thing? And anybody who wants to come with the whataboutisms, oh, well, the girls let their girls talk, that's a conversation for them. I'm talking to the men, innit? Stop with the whataboutisms, stop with the pointing fingers where to just because they're doing it doesn't mean that you have to, especially if you can see the damage that it's doing. Get with somebody who doesn't do that then. Stop being ruled by your loneliness. Stop just jumping into anything just because you're lonely and rare. Take that time. Be just as diligent about the relationships that you're stepping in as you are about where you want to be within your own life. And if it means that you're going to be lonely a little bit longer, so be it. But don't end up stepping into damaging situations where you're just as damaged as the other person, thinking that all of a sudden it's going to get sorted. You both have to do the work on yourselves as well as on the relationship. You both have to have healthy expectations of yourself as well as each other and the relationship. It's going to be difficult to get there. Damn right it is. None of this is easy. It's going to be difficult to get there. But if you really want it to work, they're the steps that you truly have to make. And if you're not pulling your weight, accept that. Come out. If your eyes are wandering, accept that. Come out the relationship. Don't cause more pain. Don't cause more hurt. and then you're known with you have that reputation. Oh, he's a cheater. Oh, you know about cheaters. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Change the behavior. If you truly want things to change the behavior. You know what you need to do?
Then at that point, because that niggas is scared. And this is where I'm going to empathize with the fellas.
Okay.
Men are scared.
Of what?
Losing everything that they have to work harder and harder and harder and harder to gain.
You know what's go ahead. You
I will most definitely empathize as well, because my God, am I scared. I'm scared that I'm never going to have the relationship that I had ever again. I'm scared that I'm going to get used. I'm scared that I'm going to get my heart broken, especially at the age that I'm at now. Especially at 43 years old. I'm 43 in November. So especially at 42, 43 years old. Damn right I'm scared. But don't let your fear lead you to making damaging, toxic, and destructive decisions. Don't do it. Take that time for yourself. You deserve that time for yourself. And you will find the potential partner that will see that is also taking that time for themselves, and they will want to work with you. Compromise. Learn to compromise for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. Don't compromise just because you look good. The body look buff. Yeah, man, the man them are talking about how good she look. Don't compromise just because of that. When you know relationships are deeper than that. Don't compromise just to show off. Don't compromise just for the eyes of everybody else rather than for the eyes that are most important, the person that you're supposed to love. Don't compromise for that shit.
$40 years ago, you could get a job at a factory and afford to trick. You get you a little regular job and still afford to trick on something. You wanted to buy you a little slice of coochie, you could do that. You wanted to take little you know what I mean, out, show her a little night on the town, take her to cheesecake factories, because back in the 80s and 90s, niggas wasn't act like they wasn't, you know what I'm saying, take her to the little steakhouse or something like that. You could trick. Now, again, niggas are working 50 and 60 hours just to keep it together.
Okay.
You could get you a factory job and get a house. Wasn't that normal for no regular dude to have a home? He may have been renting that, but he had a crib.
Mm-hmm.
Bring a little shorty back, because they had a regular person could move to the low end suburbs. You could still afford that. I don't know if y'all remember, good people. I may be showing my age as a person. Y'all remember starter homes? Y'all remember people could buy those? That regular people could buy like a first home and hope to make some type of step up. I don't know if y'all remember them, because
we used to have that. We used to have that in the UK as well until Thatcher fucked that up really and truly. But yeah.
Now they Airbnbs and regular houses and stuff like this. So I don't know, some of y'all may be a little too young. But now, niggas are scared, bruh. My 50K ain't the same 50K it once was. So I had to work that hard to get to 50K.
Right.
For a woman to come into my life, and I'm expected to take care of her. And taking care of her ain't the same taking care of her that it was back in the G.
Taking care of her back in the day for the regular guy was just pulling your weight. Pulling your weight and being able to step up for the family that you're building. So if it's being able to work towards getting a bigger yard, do you know what I mean? Working together to be able to cover the bills, taking shifts with the kids, whatever it is, doing the school run, whatever it is, that's all it was. That's all it was back in the day. When things break down, Do you know what I mean? If we're expected to pull our weight, pull our weight. That's it. That's it. Now it's a next thing. It's the next thing that we as men are putting on ourselves with these unrealistic standards, as well as the influx of, do you know what I mean, this social media pushed, YouTube pushed, sensationalized content of the man's got to have this, the man's got to have that, that's coming from women. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to say it's all women. I'm not going to say that's exactly what it's like in the real world, because it's definitely not what it's like with the women that I'm around, the women that I speak to. It's definitely not like that. And again, you've got to think about the places that you're putting yourself in for the expectations that you have. If you're going to follow people like Fresh and Fit live in Miami. In Miami, there's a lifestyle that's expected, and it's quite an expensive lifestyle. If that's not something that you're into, no matter how attractive the women are, you have to bear that in mind, and you have to act accordingly to that. If that means taking up a lifestyle that you can't maintain, more you than me then. I ain't killing myself out for that. Call a spade a spade. If really and truly all it is just to impress other people, rather than actually getting into it. If all it is to be able to say, oh, I've slept with this gal, I've slept with that gal, I've got this many notches on my bedpost. Let's call a spade a spade. You can't expect anything real from that kind of mindset. You can't.
Back in the G, just 20 years ago, I could give you $100 and you could go have yourself a day.
Hell yeah.
You could do your self-care for real. You may not have been able to get the whole spa day package, but you could get them nails and them feet done. Mike could get you a little wash and set, some shit.
Complimentary champagne too.
You know what I'm saying? $100 now. And this ain't no knock to the shorties. This ain't no knock to the beauticians, to the estheticians and shit like that. $100 now. That might just be your holding fee. That's a hand, a left hand. I've been seeing some of the prices of some of the shit these women be getting done. You want feet? You just feet only today?
Right.
So it's like, how I'm gonna be that nigga?
Crazy.
Flowers, the little shit that costs, like all the little shit. Oh, it's not about money. Cut it out. Them flowers you want are not free. The cards you want, the consideration you want, outside of me giving you my time and shit like that, some of that stuff not free. And the little things cost a lot more literally than they ever have. Niggas is scared, bruh. Niggas is scared because, especially now more than ever, the way we taught to view what a man's supposed to bring, even traditionally, the shit not even appreciated. You feel me? You can ask a lot of niggas like, I done had it happen. Shit, now that I got a couple dollars under my belt, nigga, that shit is not appreciated. It's expected. You feel me? I don't get commended for being a nigga who got my shit together. You dig me? So it's like regular niggas for the most part are afraid. I can empathize with that, especially now being a dude of status. Seeing the way some of these women talk, all that princess treatment, soft life, I want to be taken care of, I need a nigga to put me up. Whoa. Whoa, big baby. I done good not to have no kids. I don't want a dependent now.
Right.
Do you know what this economy finna look like for some folk? Fuck is you talking about? And what you doing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying that's all women, but again, like, I think a lot of these dudes, because you know you can't be a man and be scared.
Right.
Rather put on this machismo and shit on women instead of saying I'm scared to get used.
Yep.
I don't have a lot.
Yep.
I've worked hard for the little bit that I do have.
Yep.
Instead of saying that I'm afraid to be taken advantage of again. I'm afraid to open up to the wrong woman again. because I haven't quite found, or I haven't quite got my rubric together to find a woman that I can open up to safely. I haven't quite got my articulation down to where when I do open up, it's not just word vomit and she feel like maybe some of it is about her. I haven't got that down and I'm scared. Right? Because this ain't the game that I'm used to. And shit, I can attest to that, nigga. These definitely not the women. I ain't saying they better or worse, nigga, but these is not the women that who number I was putting on my hand back in the day.
Correct.
So it's some new shit going on. And I get why niggas is afraid, bro, but I much rather us start to be honest about that than continue to shit on black women. Niggas is scared.
The moment we can truly start being real with ourselves is the moment that the world starts to be real, really real with us. Thanks for watching and listening. Hope you have an amazing day, an amazing week. Take care of yourselves, take care of your mental health, because you don't know, good mental health is wealth. Forward ever, backward never. And as always, blessings to you all.